Alright, gentlemen, in this video I want to show you 4 ways you can practice guitar. And I mean 4 ways to organize your practicing or organizing your playing so it gets a little bit easier. And I'm gonna talk about 4 different types of playing. The first one is just one string, which has 6 combinations. And then you have adjacent strings, strings that are next to each other. That's 5. Then you have positional playing, which has 19 or 20, depending on your guitar. And then there's zone playing, which also has 19 to 20, depending on your guitar. And then there's everything in between, like combinations of the 4. And I'm going to talk about that by the end. And if you hang around, I'm gonna talk about some tips on improvisation, some experiences I made, some guidelines, how to and how to not, and yeah, stick around. So, you start with one string. Why do you start with one string? Well, that's easiest. You just have one string to think about, and it doesn't really get any easier than that. And you have interval distance is the same as the movement in space, and in space you move from left or you move to the right. There is no vertical movement when you play on one string. And I like to do this exercise. It's more a hypothetical exercise, really. You just take your guitar and on one string play, say, a whole step, any 2 notes, really. And that's fine. But when you come to playing the larger intervals, like a minor, major, 7th, you have to move your hand really far, and then it could be easy to just get lost. So you can appreciate the positional playing more when you see the relative difficulties with playing large intervals on one string only. So what can you do in just one string? Well, you can play glissando, slides, slurs, and yeah, different types of articulation. And then you have adjacent strings, strings that are next to each other. The, the there are 5 combinations, and this is just the beginning of positional playing. And here we come to the first problem with the guitar, is that there is more than one way to fret a note. There are some overlapping notes, and this could be a problem. It doesn't have to, but it's certainly something you need to take into consideration, because you have to choose like one way or the other. You can't do both, at least not at the same time. But what you can do is you can practice one thing at a time and then just move on to a different method afterwards. And yeah, that would probably make it a lot more easier for you. And then there's positional playing, where the 2 middle fingers on your left hand stay the same, and the 2 outer fingers, your index finger and your pinky, they can move to 1 fret, and only 1 fret only. So here it's easy to see like what's easy. Well, playing larger intervals gets a whole lot easier now than it was in on a just playing on one string. And but there's also some things that you can't do in positional playing and zone playing, and that's playing slides and stuff like that. But what's great about positional playing is that everything's in there somewhere. The chromatic scale, the pentatonic scales, the major, minor, all the modes, all arpeggios, augmented, major, minor, triads, diminished triads. Everything's there somewhere. And then you have zone playing, which I call 4 fret. I really stole that from Wayne Krantz, I have to admit. That's 4 fingers, 4 frets, one for each. Like you put your four index finger on the 4th fret, the long finger on the 5th, so forth. And it makes some of the typical scales impossible to play, at least in succession. Some notes are omitted, and this makes for some interesting changes. It really forces interesting changes, really. You can I could show an example. You get the A major scale on the frets 5, 6, 7 and 8. You can't play all the notes, really, so you have to skip some of them. And this is great because you have to think a little bit outside the box to make music. And then there's combinational examples, like string skipping. You could play on the E and the D string, so you really skipping the A string. It's just a combination of just playing on one string. And then you have like 2, 3, 4, 5 fret zones, meaning you could play only on 2 frets, like you play only on the 4th and the 5th. It gets really hard to make music with only 2 frets, but I really suggest you just try it, and try everything, really. There's no reason to not try things and try new things on the guitar. And then you can have like 4 frets combined with the open string or open strings. Like you could play the 4, 5, 6, and 7 frets with an open G string, for example. Yeah. And then now I just wanted to say something about improvisation, and it's you really just do it. I hear a lot of people talk about they have to practice their technique first. They have to build up some alternate picking strength. They need some speed or whatever, but you really don't need any particular technique to make music. You just really do it. And you can of course practice technique. Like if you're preparing to play a certain piece that requires some level of technique, then you kind of have to. And do you really need a metronome? Yeah, definitely. You need something that can keep the time, because if you don't practice with a metronome, you most likely just gonna rush or lag, or yeah, it kind of gets a little bit too little precise. And you should also listen carefully to what you're playing. And to listen, you ought to record yourself, record your practice session, recording a 2 minute piece, 1 minute piece, and just set some goals and practice that. And then you listen back and see if you hit your goals. It's really that simple. But only critique your playing. Just be objective. Don't be too harsh on yourself. And don't be afraid of things just because they're easy. And I would also suggest you keep a journal. Just write down anything you can record regarding your guitar playing, so you can go back and check it out, or see if you made some progress, or if you made some regress. I don't know, whatever. So yeah, that's all about it. That's what I have to say. So thanks for watching.